Hi, my name's Tomahawk, and I love movies, comics, and TV shows, but not as much as I love telling those movies, comics, and TV shows why they're not good enough. Today, the movie I'll be whining about is... So you probably already know the history of Black Widow, but my mom doesn't, and she watches my YouTube videos. Hi, Mom. So here is a quick character bio for Black Widow in the MCU. Natasha Romanoff first appeared in Iron Man 2 in a supporting role, but was fleshed out in subsequent Avengers and Captain America films in a supporting role. Basically, she befriends all the Avengers and comes to see them as her family, but this family has a bitter divorce in Captain America Civil War, in which she chooses to side with Mother Captain America. Don't fight me on this, Tony is the daddy. It's after Captain America Civil War that the events of this new Black Widow film occur. And then, in older movies, she sacrifices her life for the sake of the universe. That's right, Mom! The most impactful thing she does in this entire franchise is kill herself. And not even this solo movie can fix that. Not only does Marvel choose to give her a solo movie after her death, it's also the first movie of the new phase. And starting it off with a prequel is a bit of a non-starter. And Marvel, I love you. I love you so much. You have no idea how much merchandise is in this room that I'm filming right now. It's so much. But I gotta break it to you. You don't know how to make a prequel. Don't feel bad. Almost nobody in Hollywood knows how to make a good prequel. Because look, movies are hard. Storytelling's hard. At least good storytelling is. And writing a satisfying prequel, it's almost impossible. Because a prequel needs to be a satisfying story in and of itself while giving an audience a newfound appreciation for the original story. That is a tricky balancing act to pull off. In a word, recontextualization. Now, ideally, this would mean we would gain further insight into character motivations and actions, but Hollywood seems to think that what makes a satisfying prequel is just giving us details about things that we didn't really care about. Hey, did you know that Han Solo got his blaster from a guy? Guy just gave it to him. Wolverine's jacket? Some guy gave it to him. And in Black Widow, this means we find out how Natasha got that vest that she wore in Infinity War. And for a character who changes her appearance in every movie, not a single person was wondering. Not a one. But while we're talking about that vest, Yelena states that wearing this vest is the first choice she's ever made for herself. Now, this is actually a pretty decent setup for a story. Throughout the rest of this movie, and throughout the rest of this story, this vest symbolizes free will and agency. At the end of the movie, Yelena gives this vest to Natasha because she was wearing it in Infinity War. There's no real reason that Yelena would give it to Natasha. Like, metaphorically, it doesn't really make sense in this story. However, it actually would make a lot of sense story-wise for Natasha to get her own piece of clothing that symbolizes freedom and agency, especially since in Captain America Civil War, she sided with the guy who the government was trying to put limitations on and was fighting against that. Also, it makes sense in the course of this story, where the main villain is literally taking the free will of women, and she's fighting against that. So, yeah, it makes sense, but I don't like the way you did it. Anyway, back to my prequel rant. Prequels, aside from never recontextualizing anything really, which we will get back to, they have a tendency to create, dare I say the word on the internet, plot holes. Oh, that's 2 words. Anyway, in the future, if you're doing an MCU rewatch, I'd be willing to bet that you are going to watch Black Widow before you watch Infinity War and Endgame, because the entirety of it takes place before those movies, and it's not like it changes your perspective on how those movies should be viewed. Like if Natasha had gotten replaced with a Skrull in this movie, it would make sense to watch this movie after, be like, oh, Natasha died. No, the Natasha that died was actually a Skrull. That didn't happen. This is just a movie. It feels like it should have come out after Civil War. But the next time that you watch Endgame and the scene pops up after Natasha's death and Tony goes, did she have family? And Steve goes, yeah, us. you're gonna think, well, she also had her weird fake Russian spy family, which is a problem because now the new movie Black Widow is negatively impacting your viewing of previous movies going forward into the future. The movie Black Widow actually hinders Natasha's entire in-game story. This clip right here is the entire motivation for Natasha throughout the entirety of Endgame.
I used to have nothing. And then I got this. This job. This family. And I was better because of it.
But she didn't have nothing because she had her weird fake Russian spy family. The current version of Natasha's story in Black Widow is learning to accept her weird fake Russian spy family and make peace with her past, overcoming her past trauma. The movie basically ends with her saying, hey, if my weird fake Russian spy family can work things out, maybe the Avengers can work things out too. Which is the opposite story of what the movie should be telling. If we use the Black Widow solo film to recontextualize her death, we can make her death more impactful, not less. So, how do we do that? Well, we take her motivation for wanting to keep the Avengers together as a unit, and then we just pack it a little deeper. We do that by emphasizing the nothing in Natasha's story. In my version of Black Widow, she would start the movie fairly nonchalantly accepting the breakup of the Avengers. She liked the team, but ultimately she realizes that they have decided to go their separate ways, and this isn't the first time something like this has happened for her. She's had to leave the KGB before, she's had to leave the Red Room, she's had to leave S.H.I.E.L.D., she's had now to leave the Avengers. She did her best to keep it together, it didn't work. She just needs to shrug it off, because this is the same character who always says,
nothing lasts forever.
But Natasha learns that Dreykov might still be kicking around in the Red Room as well. So she teams up with her weird fake Russian spy family to help her overcome past trauma. She reluctantly learns to trust them again. And then they need to betray her. This would be more emotionally impactful because these are the characters that we've spent the majority of the movie with, as opposed to Dreykov, who sucks as a villain because, A, we don't know this guy. We know that he's a guy from Natasha's past, but we've never actually seen him do anything evil until we meet him. This makes the movie feel like it's a sequel to a movie that doesn't exist. If you wanted to fix the Dreykov character, you could add a subplot in which is a flashback to Budapest, which, by the way, Marvel, real quick thing, how dare you? How dare you make a Black Widow prequel movie and not show us the events in Budapest? Like, I heard you were making a Black Widow prequel movie, and I was like, oh, cool, Budapest, along with all the other Marvel nerds on the internet. And then you just didn't do it. You've been hinting at this friggin' thing for years now. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, Marvel? It's a weird choice. Weird choice. Anyway, but in my version of this, the main villains in the movie are Natasha's weird fake Russian spy family. I think they should eliminate Dreykov, and then they want to take over the Red Room. They want to step into his position. And Natasha, being disgusted at this, is like, whoa, no. And then she's forced to reluctantly fight her weird fake Russian spy family that she's been trying to make peace with throughout the course of the movie. I know you want to use Yelena for future projects, so maybe you could have her land somewhere between Natasha's goals and the fake mom and dad, and have her just kind of land on the ground and be like, I'm gonna go do my own thing. But having Natasha's family be the villains in this movie also eliminates a lot of the plot holes from Endgame, because she's not going to view them as her family anymore. She's not going to try and reach out to them when she's got a makeshift Avengers team at the beginning of the movie. It also explains why they're not fighting in the final battle against Thanos. Because if Black Widow had come out before Endgame, I'd be willing to bet one of the portals during the portal scene would have included that legion of Black Widows that they free and are now just roaming the earth. But also, most importantly, the betrayal of Natasha's weird fake Russian spy family will make her realize the only people that she trusts are currently on the run from the government. This movie should fill the gap between the Avengers being a team that Natasha likes and would like to stay together, and the Avengers being her family, and that she needs to stay together. She should end the movie rejecting the family that was assigned to her and accepting the Avengers as her real family, because the ultimate message of Black Widow should have been, it's not the family that you're given that matters. It's the one you choose. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate it. It's pretty small, but hey, we're having fun here. I have a couple of podcasts you might want to check out. I have a show called Tomahawk and Stew Pitch a Podcast, where we come up with fun and silly ideas for podcasts and then sort of improvise a sample of each one. I also have a show called The Silly Cast, and there are a lot of really weird Marvel topics over there that I promise you haven't heard anywhere else. There was an episode early on that was called What If Seinfeld Took Place in the Marvel Universe? Comment below if there is a movie or a general topic you would like for me to tackle in this series in the future. I look forward to doing more of these. I am trying to improve the setup. I hope you like it. Bye, Mom!